What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 41. Zoe's giggling. I don't trust him, so I have him muted for a moment here. All right, all right, all right. They can hear you now. They can hear you.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
I was gonna say, whoa, stream's offline, but it's not.
All right, welcome to episode 41, guys. This is the Heroes of Storm podcast. We're missing one of our usuals here. I'm Solid Jake. We've got our normal cast, except Sham 2, who is working like a big boy, responsible man. But Corey's like
man.
worst introduction ever. Well, Kubi,
Hey, Jake, who do you have on the show today?
no, we'll get there. We'll get
No,
there.
you're supposed to do that part.
Ugh.
Host.
This is terrible.
This is terrible.
Amateur hour.
I know.
We have to do this work? This is...
You know the strings I had to pull to get Arthlon on? Like, come on, bro.
We're going to go down the line. We're going to go down
Alright,
the line.
fine. Go.
You first.
This is the part where you
I segued you already, man. Oh my
you have to
goodness.
do it again.
All right, guys, we're done. We're just gonna restart the show. I'm serious.
Apparently, we're all quiet,
Rip.
but I turned up the volume.
Oh, wow.
I hear it fine, so I don't know if that's true.
All right.
All
all
my
right.
hotkeys are broken. It's throwing me off. Bam.
So,
Graphics broken.
okay, pretty quiet Heroes Week. So I've just been playing a lot. Really, just trying to get that hammer to level 10. It takes so long. I didn't realize how long it took to get a hero to 10. It's a real grind, and I'm impressed that you have 3 at 10, Jake.
Hey Corey.
Hey.
I said I was restarting the show, and then you go on and you just keep talking over me
Why'd you restart the show?
Yeah, why'd you do that?
because the intro was so bad. Anyways, that's fine.
First of all, I didn't hear you say restarting the show.
I didn't either.
I heard him.
Well, I'm not doing an intro again, so.
No, we're not. We're not.
Yep,
We're
yep.
not. We're just gonna end the show right now.
Okay.
Okay.
See you later, guys.
Well, it's nice being on.
Good show.
Yes,
Thanks, Arthlon.
for
Thanks,
coming on,
Arthlon.
taking time out of your busy day to come on and talk about Heroes.
Zoya, how's the WoW grind?
Oh man, addicting and bad. I've been making time for heroes that like it was 2 hours a day. Now I'm only playing it an hour a day. But I played with Soldier the other night, so it wasn't. It's not fully terrible addiction, but I just need Jaina or Lost Vikings. Come on, come on.
Please,
Come on.
Soon. Well, Mr. Arthlon of Symbiote Gaming is in fact our special guest this week. He's kind of filling in for Sham 2 since Sham 2's not here, but we'd have him on anyways. And it's your second appearance on Town Hall?
No, this is first.
First? Okay, well I've had him on other shows, so I get confused because I know we've sat down before. Well, welcome to Town Hall.
Excited to be here. It's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Especially with the Zoya.
Boom.
That's all, yeah.
Hype. We're arena buddies now, so you know we're
Yeah.
bonded for life.
I'm so happy for you guys.
Thanks, man.
So, Mr. Arthlon, you've been playing a lot of WoW. What class do you play?
I have a Death Knight and I have a Priest.
Definitely a priest. Which one do you prefer?
I do my Death Knight for PvE shenanigans, and then I do my Priest for like PvP.
All right, now let's talk about live games. All right, so Arth, for anyone that doesn't know who you are, why don't you just give a really quick introduction as to your background in competitive gaming and just Heroes of the Storm, as this is, like you said, your first time here in Town Hall.
I'm a former competitive League player. I was like almost pro, semi-pro, whatever you want to call it. I was in the challenger scene for like the entirety of season 3. After that, I did a couple challenger teams, and season 4 decided I didn't really enjoy it anymore. So I played this awesome game, or I tried out this awesome game called Heroes of the Storm, and it was fantastic. And here I am.
Well,
Whoa.
for anyone that doesn't know, oh, Kobe, do you want to say something?
Oh, I was gonna say you skipped a part. We're just like, all right, I
Well,
started playing
okay,
Heroes,
okay,
and it's like,
Well, I formed a team with Dreadnought and KO. We call ourselves Symbiote Gaming, and we've been playing Heroes of the Storm competitively for like 5 months, I think, somewhere around there, maybe longer.
When he says playing, he means absolutely annihilating the rest of the world at the game. By far the most winningest team in the community. Your record is something like 50-5 or something.
I don't even know.
I don't
I
know the
think,
exact, but it's somewhere around there.
I know the number we've lost. I think it's like 7 games or something.
Wow. Ooh.
Yeah, but you've never lost a tournament you've entered.
No, that's true. We haven't lost any tournament.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
I think we've only lost 1 series, and that was like 2 months ago.
Right. To who?
EG. Well, they were Snowflake at the time, but
Snowflake, yeah.
well, there's this map called Black Hearts, and
It's
Yeah.
the worst.
we're not very good on it because we hate it.
A lot
Yeah.
of people don't like that map
That's true, a lot of
for
teams
various reasons. We've talked about that, and we might touch on it tonight. But overall tonight, we're just going to be doing a esports recap. That's going to be a normal thing in Town Hall. Now that esports is really starting to have more and more events, we're always going to recap it in the show here. Just taking a quick look at the new skins and some impressions on the new skins. Talking about some of the more uncommon heroes in the competitive scene. Arthalon playing a lot of Kerrigan. We've been seeing some Hammer plays. We'll be talking about them and why we think, just our thoughts on them in general, and why we think they might be being used more than they were a few weeks ago. And tournament format discussion. There's some drama with HPL this past week due to some, basically their format and the way they have everything set up and their seating. So we're talking about that, and of course, Kubi's questions will be back again tonight to keep the dog.
And the state of pro teams. I forgot that.
and the state of pro teams. Okay, so we have an additional topic, and we'll throw that in
Somewhere.
probably before tournament format. Probably for tournament format. So there won't be a little graphic here on screen for it. But you know what? Let's just go up with the esports recap now. And I'll be honest with you, boys. I went to watch, and just rip the HPL VODs. They're not on YouTube. They're not on YouTube. You can't watch them on Twitch. There's no highlights.
Yep.
So if I'm missing something, if someone knows where I can watch them, that'd be great. I only caught a few games because I was, in fact, at my parents' house, living that life, going to the doctor. So, Kubi, I know you watched a lot, so why don't you...
I did. I did catch, I think, semi and grand finals, or losers semis, losers finals, grand finals. It was typical tournament stuff, for like what's been happening over the last month or so. The only thing that really stood out for me is that we saw quite a bit more Sanctification, which is Tyrael's less used heroic,
Who is
much
using
less.
Sanct?
2 Arc.
Yeah, 2 Arc, and maybe Wildfire ran it too.
I know Wildfire
was
tried
another
it in
team.
the past. Wildfire tried it in the past.
They
didn't see
are
Wildfire.
one of the teams that tends to run weirder strategies too. So I'm pretty sure that they ran it, and definitely 2 Arc ran it too.
And then
And
SMG
it's-
3-0 finals, right?
For
Yeah.
HPL, yes.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Sanctification.
Yeah.
What-
Sanctification it's a bit strange because Tyrael's other heroic judgment is just like incredibly good for initiating a stun, knocks other people away. It's just like it's almost sees like 100% use in the competitive scene right now if you're playing Tyrael. So Sanctification's interesting because I'm guessing that people are trying it out as sort of a counter for Bloodlust, which is Rhaegar's heroic that just gives everyone a huge move speed and attack speed buff. So it's like, okay, everyone's grouped up. They pop Bloodlust, we pop Sanctification. Everyone gets in that ring around Tyrael, and they're invincible and vulnerable during that time. So it's like you sort of stall out a little bit to waste out the Bloodlust. And then the idea is to go in and just win the team fight after that. I don't think it ever really... Maybe there was one team fight where it sort of worked, but most of the time you get SMG was just like, oh, just back up for a bit. Okay, and then we go back in. And it just really didn't end up working.
Sanct still doesn't apply to Tyrael, right? Like, it makes everyone
Yeah.
immune but himself?
Right.
Okay.
So now, what kind of comps were we seeing this? Was it like Nazebo comps?
No, which that was just a thought that popped in my head. It's like, oh, they really should run this with somebody who's like channeling something really strong, where it's like, okay, we need to hit this person right away. Which, yeah, that pops into mind. You want to run Ravenous Spirit with that, sit them inside that area, and they get like 3 free seconds of just wailing away on somebody with that giant ghost thing. But no, that wasn't the case, at least from the matches that I saw.
Okay. I mean, Arthlon, you guys played against the Sanct, right?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I think we played against it twice. Sancts in general is just like, it's a great idea in your head that you have, but then when you
Yeah.
actually use it, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm just gonna go use the other ult now.
Do you think it would be
'Cause-
better if it made Tyrael immune?
I mean, it'd make it a lot better because then you couldn't interrupt it, and he wouldn't die immediately.
Yeah.
When he used it.
Yeah, that's the problem I've seen a lot, at least in the past with Sanct, was the moment Tyrael pops it, it's like, well, just kill the Tyrael.
Yeah, I want to see somebody do Sanctification, Divine Shield.
Yeah.
It would just, it's like so cheeky, but like one of these days it's just going to work and it's going to ruin a game where we're all going to be like, what just happened?
I'll catch a team off guard like the first time. and
Yeah,
then
it'll happen once.
it's
And
like,
then,
oh, they're all invulnerable. Let's just walk the other way.
yeah,
Real quick.
right.
Right. Yeah. Just
It would
hard
still
to
be
disengage.
cool. I can dream. But yeah, other than that, it's kind of like you said. Either just hit Tyrael, kill him, or walk away for a second and come back. So I like the idea, though. It's cool to see people coming up with weird strategies to try and deal with. Because SMG, you guys really like running Bloodlust. You have a lot of success with it. So people are throwing some stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks in terms of how to beat Bloodlust. So it's cool.
Yeah, at first we had people running like Void Zone against us.
Void
and
Prison.
I think Void Prison, my bad.
One time I was like,
Zone.
whoa, what is this new strategy? Like, they combine
Oh.
two heroics together. I was like, I don't even know what this is.
And then like Brightwing with their Emerald Wind, things like that.
Yeah.
But usually Bloodlust is 10 seconds, so there's nothing you can really do to counter it
Who
unless you
would've
just
thought-
kill them all.
Who would have thought Emerald Wind would have become so popular? I mean,
Stop! I'm gonna beat you.
You know, so I mean, just speaking on the idea of the secondary heroics, that's a unique thing to heroes. Any other heroes you think that have a second heroic that we might see more use out of? Because like, Reign of Vengeance didn't see a lot of use for a long time, and now it's pretty common. Sanctification still, a niche. But are there any other heroics that stand out that you think might, kind of rise in popularity at some point?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
In the future, when they improve Ultralisk, I could actually see Kerrigan's taking it, because a lot of the time it's hard to get value out of Maelstrom until like level 20. And Ultralisk can like make someone just run away from a fight forever, and it can also body block really well too. So, but if you could control it, it'd be really good. But until you can, it's not very good.
I think people are going to start running Orbital BFG, and they're going to start wrecking cores and keep.
You're the only
We'll
one,
get
bro.
there. We'll get there. We're
You're
gonna
the
get
only
there.
one, bro. I don't know. The only one that I can think of, I guess, would be Force Wall. But even then, Archon's just too good. So it's like, I don't know. That's a tough one.
There's a few where you can say this is not used at all. I can see this really small niche use for it, but
I mean, yeah, like
It's gonna-
Ultralisk and like Gargantuan both already have a use. Like we've seen them busted out. Like if you're pushing the core for an early win, like right as you hit 10, you know, you can pick Ultra and get Gargantuan then just for like an easy.
I
kinda
see.
stuff, but-
I see Nazebos on ladder using their Gargantuan to just solo merc camps. Like they just jungle with it. They stay in lane and they throw the Gargantuan in the jungle to do merc camps, and they stay in lane. Then they go grab the merc camp when the Gargantuan finishes it. It's really weird, but it's interesting.
yep, that's solo queue.
It's
That's solo queue
interesting.
for ya.
What MMR are you at?
Not good. I do a lot of viewer games. It's not up there.
Oh
that's
my
for sure.
god, Jake calling his viewers out.
No,
guys,
man,
I think you guys are great. You guys are good.
Oh,
Snap. Oh snap! Maybe there's a day that triple tap will find a use against certain compositions.
Not the fact that you can cleanse it. It's never going to see use. You can just
I know,
cleanse
right
triple
about that.
tap off.
That's such a strange thing.
I didn't know you could cleanse that.
Yeah,
I
apparently
didn't
just
know you
cleanse
could
it and then
cleanse
the target is off of you, and it just that's it.
Well, get wrecked, Nova.
Right?
Yeah.
If you needed any more reason not to take that heroic, there it is.
Well, how are the finals, Arthlon?
Which
or PvP?
ones?
The HPL finals.
Oh.
Be honest.
There was a close game. I think it was game 1, and then the other twos were kind of a stomp, to be honest. The first game though was really good. Like I watched it, I thought it was not as close as it was, but when I rewatched it, I was like, wow, they were actually like beating us in fights.
Right on.
I will say I got to give props to Arc. I think that they've really, at this point, cemented themselves as probably the second best team in
Yeah.
who's entering tournaments.
Oh,
right
yeah,
now.
for sure.
I think-
They've
I
been
think-
consistently getting to the grand finals against SMG. They've occasionally been taking games off you guys, so props to those guys for really
Yeah.
stepping it up. And-
Quibsy has really shown himself as like both a solid player and like a good shot caller / team
yeah,
captain.
I mean, so
Quibsy makes lots of plays for 2Arc and
Turk in general, ever since they reformed their roster, I mean, they've been really consistently just doing well. I don't think they've had a bad showing since they've had their new squad. And they had a sub one of the weeks, the first week, with their new roster. They actually had a sub, and they got second place. And then they had Kiefer's back. Kiefer's is their shot caller. And they've had just as strong results with Kiefer's, if not stronger. So good to them. Good on them. It's nice to see Symbio actually losing games once in a while. It makes it interesting because I'll be
I wanna-
honest, when it's just SMG dominating, it's good for no one except SMG.
you
Like
know what killed King of the Nexus? SMG, man. They've beaten every team, and like there's only a few we can invite. It's like, well, SMG 6-0 now.
Hey, I
There
gave you
goes our
that
King
great
of the Hill.
idea
You
at
did, but
BlizzCon.
you did. have yet to act on it though.
Rip.
What about cuts?
Kings of Storm.
Any exciting games you guys saw outside of the norm?
We lost the one game in grand finals on
Yeah.
first hollow. So an interesting thing I've noticed: games where you lose, you tend to just like immediately counterpick them back to the same stage. Any thought process behind that, or you're just like, no, we can actually just destroy you guys in this map,
You
and
guys
then
do
always
that
happens
constantly.
like you go right back to it and you just wreck them. So it's kind of funny. Like,
Well, usually, like if we win, then they try to do something to counter what we just did.
Mm.
So if we lose, they're like, "Oh wow, it worked," but then we just do something else that we've already done before, but they're not like expecting it because they're still doing what they did to counter us the first time.
okay, so you're sort of taking like the change in map like out of the equation,
Yeah,
and just
exactly.
focusing strictly on the change in synergies.
I think that game
Those are cool.
specifically is like we had a really good early game with Tyrande, but then
Yeah.
she turned into Tyrande and she doesn't really do that much.
Yeah.
But we were definitely like trying her out, and it worked early game, but
You had
I don't think
actually a
she's
couple good
working.
shadow stocks that got you into really good spots, but yeah, I think overall that didn't help in the later game.
yeah.
That's interesting to hear because usually her damage doesn't start scaling until the late game.
She's more of a late
Well,
game
we
damage,
didn't-
but her early game utility is insane.
Well, we only had her as a single support, so Timmy did not go the Al build. He
Uh,
went
yeah.
utility.
Oh,
never mind then.
Healing ward, and you still went. Yeah, you went true shot.
That's
and
weird,
The
Arthalon.
cooldown reduction on, what is that? The passive
Momentum?
Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark. I think that's the build that you went at least up until 10. So it was definitely a dance away from the normal build that you would see on Tyrande.
Yeah, typically Tyranda's built as more of an assassin, like middle of the road, not as
Yeah,
not
somewhere in
as your
between.
not as your single support. That's
Yeah.
interesting to see you guys even tried that. Now, is that something you guys have practiced?
Yeah, we practiced it a little bit against certain strategies, and it worked out. It's just she doesn't provide enough sustain as
Right.
much as the other supports. So if you don't like immediately kill the enemy team, they're gonna out sustain you
Yep.
pretty easily because her heal
Every
is
time.
just really weak.
And her mana pool is really bad too.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's got horrendous sustain, that's for sure. So that's interesting. I'm definitely gonna catch that VOD.
I actually didn't catch the draft for that game. Is it a strategy to like leave the support until like the very end because you know that they're not going to take her, so like you use it to like secure other stronger heroes early on, and then you're like, well, we know we can fall back on Tyrande, or
Well, I think we had like the exact same comp we did from the previous game.
Mhm.
It's just this time they had a Nova,
Yeah.
so we're like, oh, we can use Tyrande to pop the Nova out of stealth and really hinder her.
okay, so it was more of a counter pick than anything. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, that's cool.
And do you guys like run her with a specific group? I mean, obviously she excels in ganking, so like with Stitches or Kerrigan,
Yeah,
where
it
you can
was
pull
Stitches.
someone in. It was Stitches. Okay,
Yeah, they had Stitches.
makes sense.
Stitches, Nubarak, Falstad. Yeah, Falstad, and you had to go Stone Skin too.
Well, I have to say we were inspired by Elena's team, Clairvoyant. Okay.
You just looked really lost for a minute. You're just like, where am I?
I will
Because
find.
Clairvoyant, they use Tyrande a lot, and specifically against Nova to pop her out of stealth. So
Yeah.
that's where we.
It's like
oh,
one of
we
the
can do
harder
that too.
counters for Nova for sure.
Yeah.
It's cool to see.
Beyond that, anything else that stood out this weekend? I mean, Arth as a player, is there anything that really just kind of stood out to you in teams you guys faced?
No, not really.
Business as usual.
Yeah, there's nothing too crazy. Like I said,
Getting paid.
the Tyrande picks from Clairvoyant was
Yeah.
probably the biggest thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and the Sanctification. But yeah, I would agree. They were just more of the same. I mean, the meta hasn't shifted too much in like the last 3 weeks it seems. So,
Yeah, I don't remember
ever
anything
since-
from games.
Ever since Avatar became God tier, it's
yeah,
basically
it's
where we're
like
at.
playing
Yeah.
around that, especially in
So,
the draft.
so we're just like waiting for the patch to hit,
Yeah.
so we can move on with our lives.
Well, the patch is not here yet.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
think a lot of us are expecting it next week. But we talked about Tyrande, and we're fingers crossed, hardcore there. We talked about Tyrande, but some other heroes that we've been seeing played a little bit more than normal in the past 2 to 3 weeks. We mentioned this in the introduction. Is Arth? You've been playing a lot of Kerrigan. That's one of them. And Kerrigan's a hero that they kind of nerfed. They nerfed the width on Primal Grasp. They
I
nerfed
was gonna
they
say the
nerfed
same
the
thing.
shielding. They nerfed. She used to be considered the best hero in the game once upon a time.
Oh, she
This
was by
this was
far.
this was many years ago, and by years I mean months. But She was
It's
quite
been
good.
that long.
It's been a while, but it has been a while, and she just kind of became really uncommon with the addition of heroes like Chen. Pretty much once they added Chen, we stopped seeing Kerrigan. But we're seeing you use Kerrigan with a lot of success. And can you tell us a little bit about that? Oh, he's got that aggro. He's got that mom aggro, maybe. What flavor
Yeah,
aggro was it?
It was mom aggro. You called it.
Yeah.
It's like,
She wants
All right,
sex
Kerrigan.
today.
She,
Tell us
no, she
all
actually
about
made
Kerrigan.
she made hot tea.
ooh,
Oh,
I wish.
goodness, that's good for
Then I
you.
would throw out the
that's
window
worth
because
it.
tea
We
is
can wait.
disgusting.
we can wait. What?
What? Tea's nasty. It's the seafood of drinks.
Oh
It's
my
terrible.
Seafood is amazing.
Seafood's bottom tier.
Zoya, hush. Arthalon, talk about Kerrigan.
Okay. So it was just like one day I was playing Kerrigan solo queue. I'm like, yeah, she's still pretty good, and I really like the high skill cap she can have because you have a lot of decision making to do within a fight, and especially since you have like a bunch of actives to use like Blood for Blood and then Venom and like Rewind. So I was saying we should probably use her. I think she's good again, and we actually did use her. We found out like who she's good with. You know, she's still good with Arthas early game. She's really good with Anu Barak. If you have Tassadar on your team, he's really good at like making her pretty much a second tank because he constantly shields her, and you know that it stacks with her passive shield.
Right.
And you know she can just lock down somebody and pretty much she can kill one or two people immediately in a fight because she just does a bunch of damage, and also you know she pulls them into your team and stuns them, so you can immediately just wipe out somebody. But she's definitely like a riskier pick because the later the game goes, she's not that good. You know, her biggest power spikes are level 4 and level 13 within Venom and Rewind. So you have to really know when she's like the best to make good plays around her. And yeah, I love Kerrigan, and I'm glad we get to use her.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
have had good
I
success.
remember the
with it.
first game I saw you guys use her. We got to interview after, and like we've seen you use her 100 times since. It's like,
Yeah.
just like you said, people like the main thing I took away from the interview was people forgot how to play against Kerrigan, and
Yeah,
that's the thing we
exactly.
see the most when you guys play is that you can be kind of greedy in lane, even against like an Arthas and stuff. You just got to be aware, but like not against a Kerrigan. The pull and then the stun and for damage plus like it's too much, and people forgot how to handle that.
So, if I was playing Kerrigan and we're drafting, what is the one hero that I want the most paired with Kerrigan? You mentioned Arthas, Tassadar, but if I had to pick one, what benefits Kerrigan the most? Because I mean, we've seen the roaming gank with Arthas. That's great. You mentioned the shielding in Tassadar. Which do you think is more important for the overall?
Well, I'd say actually Tassadar because he can protect her a lot. But if you want to go really aggressive, I'd say it's a noob. I think a noob is better than Arthas with her.
Oh wow,
Oh, chat calling Jake's Kerrigan out.
my Kerrigan is horrendous.
Oh.
They know. They've seen my Kerrigan. They're just
Okay.
like, please, don't ask Kerrigan questions because we don't want you playing Kerrigan.
All right, so you mentioned about the heroics, Maelstrom and Omega Storm, and then there's not as much. You don't get too much value out of it until 20. I was always under the assumption that it was like a really good heroic. You don't think so?
Well, it's really hard because it doesn't shield you for like anything anymore. So it's really hard to get the damage out of it by being in the middle of people. And Kerrigan's a hero where it's like you don't want to be in the middle of people at all. You want to do your pull stun combo and then wait it out until it's up again.
Right.
Because otherwise you're gonna get blown up.
So it's just too much of like a risk at this point. You need
Yeah.
to make sure that you have some way to like really get burst heals or shields or something on you. Okay.
Like at the most when I use it, I only get like 3, maybe 4 ticks out of it. I think that's like 300, 400 damage. For AoE, that's a lot, but
Yeah.
you know, you're never gonna get the full 9-second duration unless you're just curb stomping a fight, which you've won anyway.
Sure. Okay. So you were also mentioning Ultralisk, and for that reason that you can just go in, do your combo, back up a bit, and you have the Ultra there, like sort of doing long range damage for you, if it was targetable, of course.
Yeah,
So you think that you would actually run that quite a bit?
yeah. With Ultralisk, you could kill somebody with your combo, and then you could zone out another person with the Ultralisk because it actually does a good amount of damage.
Right.
And naturally, the person who's targeted on it is gonna run away, so it kind of just zones them out. So it's like you kind of killed 2 people, even though the one's not dead.
Nova counter.
Like,
Yeah,
Already
exactly.
her
Like if
first
you see a Nova,
choice.
you just put the Ultralisk on her. There's nothing she can do.
she would die more than likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the Zagara throw the Hydralisk.
Yeah,
She
exactly.
has to run away type of thing. Yeah, no, that's interesting. I'll be really happy to see the difference between the two heroics and like maybe a shield buff. Nah, I don't want to do that. Those were dark days.
Control
Oh, the
yourself,
Kerrigan days?
Scooby.
Those are dark
Oh,
days.
those Kerrigan
All right,
days are dark.
but yeah, that'd be really cool to see Ultras being used. Perhaps another day when we finally get a patch.
Yeah.
Overall, what do you? I mean, this was a change that was made a while ago, but overall, what are your thoughts on the nerf to the Primal Grasp width? Do you think it was overkill, necessary, just adds more skill to the game?
Yeah, I think it just added more skill to Kerrigan. You would no longer have like the people who just played Kerrigan because she's strong, and you had to actually kind of be good at her to be able to land the combos consistently. Right now, I think it's a little bit too thin, but that's okay. But yeah, I think it just added a lot of skill. But I also think it was really necessary because it was way too wide before.
Cool. Any other thoughts on Kerrigan? Any other questions, guys?
No, I think I asked everything I can think of.
What other sleeper heroes are you guys busting out soon? Spoilers, meta soon, changing.
Actually, I'll answer that for him. Raynor. We've seen Raynor quite a bit.
Raynor
You
is
guys are-
not a sleeper hero. Raynor's
No,
been
I
used
wouldn't
for
say
a while.
sleeper hero, but I wouldn't really say there's too many other teams running Raynor.
Yeah, we don't really see any other people running Raynor. Not until at least we started running him again.
Yeah, but Raynor's been around for like a month now, maybe more.
No, he definitely dipped off for a while, or he was.
Yeah, he
really
was
being
dipped off for a
played.
while, but SMG's been using him for a
He
while.
is seen here and there. Yes. For
I mean,
about a
he's
month.
played a bit more now, but he hasn't.
I
been
would say
that
he's
big.
like definitely 4th or 5th most picked assassin.
Yeah, for sure.
It's interesting to see. But any thoughts on it?
Mainly, it's just the Rhaegar Raynor combo.
Yeah.
Raynor has like incredible scaling, and Bloodlust just makes it that much better. And like at level 16, you pop Berserk, which is the 40%
Sorry,
attack speed with
silly comment.
Bloodlust.
Yeah.
And you obliterate somebody immediately, and you're just attacking so fast, and it's really fun, and it's really effective. So
Just
whenever
talk
we
about that Artelon. Stream can't hear it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, when we have Rhaegar, it's Raynor's always an option. Usually we don't run Raynor though if we don't have Rhaegar.
Okay. So that's strictly the only combo that you try to run it with. Any others that you've theory crafted that might work, or is it strictly?
Like combinations in general, or just
Yeah, just for Raynor. Like, would you like strictly would only put Raynor on the team if you had Rhaegar as well? But are there anything
Yeah,
else?
it's just
any other
Rhaegar.
situation. Okay.
there's
Alright,
there's nothing else.
gotcha.
Interesting.
Not yet, anyways.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little girl that sits in a big piece of metal and has a really annoying voice. Kubi,
Mm.
you are a big fan of the hammer, and we've
Yeah.
been seeing a bit of her lately.
Yeah. Actually, I wasn't. Of course, you guys know that I used to love playing Hammer all the time, and then it stopped after the Hover Siege change. I was like, I can't do it anymore, guys. They just nerf all my heroes. I stopped, and then I had a long talk at BlizzCon with Hawkfu about builds.
They were sitting there on the
Yeah.
side of the street, drinking
Yeah,
the
we're
pain
just-
away.
Yeah, I'm talking about Hammer. So I was like, all right. They threw this new mine build out there into the meta, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And it's a ton of fun, and she's good. I don't know, she's just good. I think she's definitely slept on quite a bit, and we are seeing her quite a bit more in tournament play with pretty good success, I would say. I wouldn't say it's like, oh my god, broken hero, like everyone's gonna start playing her now, but I think she fits in certain maps and everything. So
I wouldn't say she's slept on. I think she gets the
She
appropriate
was.
amount of play.
She was slept
Or
on
the
2 weeks
appropriate
ago.
amount of play.
2 weeks ago, she was.
Yeah,
Seriously?
no one touched her for the longest time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right, as of right now, she's getting an appropriate amount.
yeah,
of play.
yeah, yeah.
Right now.
Well, which is a big change. From
Right,
what we were
but
seeing.
yeah, that's a shift in the meta, within the last couple of weeks. So, and it's good to see. We're again a broader, damage dealer. Play is great for everyone, and
Arth, SMG, I don't see them running the hammer. Do you
Do they
play her
have
at
We
all?
tried it, and it's like, I don't want to touch Hammer with a 10-foot pole. Like,
it doesn't
She-
fit SMG's style.
yeah, she doesn't fit our style at all.
Okay.
Because Hammer is usually a hero that you have to like sit back and wait for her to do her work.
Yeah.
And we're kind of a team that like charges in and
Yeah. You guys make
Gets-
clean,
gets stuff done.
decisive,
Pick
like
your
just
fights. Right.
what's up?
a Hammer. It's really hard to do that on Hammer because it's like she doesn't have a mount. She's pretty clunky. Like it takes her a while to get anywhere. So in the end, we feel like it just slows us down a lot when we pick Hammer.
Yeah.
But she's definitely good for some other teams that have different play styles, for sure.
Yeah, that was what I was about to ask. So you feel like that she does have a good spot in the meta. She's not really gimmicky per se. Like she's something that
I
can
honestly
sustain.
think that her best map, and basically the only map you should use her on, is like Dragon Knight,
Yeah, I would
because-
agree. She's
Agree.
so good on that map.
because you can put the mines in the bushes near the shrine, and it's like the enemy team can't even walk.
Jake,
to
how
it.
many people did I kill yesterday? Where I would just put like 9 mines
Oh,
into
it
the
was-
into the bush. I would just get double kills. People would just walk up to it. Okay.
And
It's
we-
really annoying to deal with.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
when the
Dude,
when
I'll-
the mines are in the bush, you can't actually target them. You
Yeah.
can't auto them.
Right,
so
right.
you basically have to walk into them to like get rid of them.
I mean,
So
Yeah.
she does seem incredibly map dependent. She's awful on cursed, pretty bad on black hearts. She's
Not pretty bad on Blackheart.
Yeah,
She's-
you're right.
that
She's
Blackheart's
miserable,
so
miserable on
bad.
black hearts.
She's horrendous.
decent,
She's like-
decent on haunted mines, mainly because like siege gives like good defense against the giant, and she can clear pretty well if you take napalm for the mines and everything. But yeah, definitely I would agree that she is map dependent.
I think she's great on Dragonshire.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
good.
she is really good on Dragonshire.
Like
if we were
when-
like ever to use her, it'd probably be on Dragonshire.
yeah, yeah. Like I mean,
and then we
we've
did see
seen-
that was people were picking her on Dragon
Yeah.
specifically. So.
I mean, for good reason. Like you
Yeah.
said, the mines in the bush, you're defending the shrines. She's really good at that. There's so many good places to siege. Believe it or not, sieges actually has a lot of use on that map. Not still Battlehammer is the common way to play her.
yeah,
And it's pretty cool to see. I just want to just say one really fun thing to do if you have a friend you want to play with one other person, grab Abathur Hammer and just stack your mines
Don't
in a
do that.
bush. No, it's so stupid. It's so
Don't do
fun. We
that.
just pile mines in a bush. People just walk in and get blown up. It's really fun. But Kubi, you know you had a bit of a debate on Twitter
did.
about the Hammer
I saw that.
heroics.
hammer hooks, because I'd actually almost strictly run Napalm Strike, and then
Good call.
some people were like, you know, you got to get that burst damage on the bullet. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I want to say, no, Hakfu said he was going Napalm Strike, but it was just something I messed around with a little bit, played it quite a bit. Level 20 bullet is just so good. No. So basically I asked people on Twitter what heroic they were taking. Some good debate. I think majority of people are still taking Napalm for a good reason. Definitely utility. I think overall, like the damage, like it's not super hard to hit. So you're getting bigger numbers out of it just because the cooldown on bullet is so huge. So I would love to see a slight cooldown reduction on the bullet. And I think it would be in a good place where you would be choosing between one or the other. Jared's giving me a straight no. But yeah,
Napalm
that's
is
my
too
two.
good,
It's so
man.
it is really good. It's I'm not going to argue that. I think it is the better heroic on most maps.
That pushing power, man, it's too strong.
Yeah. But
Well, it's
Yeah.
fun though.
I mean,
it is fun.
I think there's a bit of an argument you can make there though, because I've been playing with Corey a lot, and he's been playing a lot of Hammer the past week, and there were a few games where they were running Abathur, Asmodan, just crazy push heavy minions, and I'll tell you, if we outlast them to 20 and we get that bullet that just keeps one lane out of our concern, we just don't have to think about an entire lane. It's gonna push down that keep eventually.
That's a good point.
It makes it's such a strong, like he gets it specifically, like, okay, this Abathur is going to keep pushing us,
Yeah.
pushing us. This allows us to not worry about an entire lane. Like this lane is like, it doesn't matter if it has catapults or anything. It's now it's we just don't have to think about them. We get to focus on the rest of the map. So on maps like Garden and Curse, even on Dragonshire, we got really good use out of it, and it won us games. Like, it flat out won us games. We had to stall. They were was that no? That wasn't with Corey. I had a level 30 game for the first time a couple nights ago.
Wow, you're not playing with
gosh.
Corey all the
The
time.
level 30. Oh my! How
Yeah.
long was
it?
that?
Was a 45-minute game on Garden of Terror.
I think I've had 45 minutes.
Well, I guess we know who carries who in your little duo.
Hey, I had Faye on my team. She carried us that game. That was an intense game. But yeah, no, I mean it's definitely has its scenarios. I mean Corey, I don't know what your opinions are, but I personally don't think it's the ideal option. Oh. QB's kitty.
Cat
She is
cat
so
alert.
upset
Why don't we have the cat sub emote? What's going on? With
because
that?
I can't have more sub emotes.
Oh, rip.
What? That's an outrage.
Rip. That
It's
is
an
not
outrage.
right.
Eventually.
There are tiers you have to reach.
So Corey, I mean, overall, like you think Napalm's the better option?
I
generally,
think more
or-
often than not, like there are definitely like you mentioned some really good situations where you can take rotating bullet or orbital BFG as it's called. There's definitely some good cases for it, but resurgence is really good. It's just, I mean, we all know it's like a super solid
Yeah.
talent to take at level 20, and it's hard to pass up on the value of that. And you still get really good utility out of Napalm Strike, even if you go resurgence. Whereas if you take the bullet without rotating bullet, it's hard to argue it. So I think that's probably the biggest argument against it right now. But there are some uses for it for sure. And it has 1v games where it's like we can just, yeah, like you said, throw it down the middle lane if we're behind, and it just can really push us and take that keep out, and then we can get some pushback on the map. Or I can just line it up to take out 2 keeps or whatever. If we can stall the game out long enough, it works. But I don't know if it would be used that way in competitive play. But we'll see.
Before we unless Arth, do you have any comments on Heroics or Zoya?
I had one more comment on Hammer of why she's good on Dragonshire.
Okay.
Usually like the laning phase, there's not really a laning phase in Heroes, but I think there's a really long laning phase in Dragonshire where basically the heroes have to stay in lane. And because you have to stay in lane, Hammer can get like a ridiculous amount of pressure on like the structures. And since she's pretty good in lane and she's like worse later on, you can really abuse her early power by staying in that lane. Because in Dragonshire, it's like you don't really roam around the map as a team till like level 10.
True. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
You see the objective stalled out quite a bit on that map too, where it's like
Yeah.
nothing gets grabbed, so there's no like giant power swings early. I think I can agree with you on
there's
that
no
for sure.
objective to take because it's just controlling the shrines.
Whatever shrine hammers on with one other teammate, like that's not going anywhere. No one's gonna, like, it would be
Yeah.
suicidal to run up there, and then the other team will just rotate to the other one, whether it's bottom or whatever. Usually, I think hammer's much better on top in that map, but so yeah, you see it stalled out quite a bit, and I would agree. This is the longest laning phase in that map, so she does see quite a bit more strength there for sure.
Most competitive gamers actually consider Dragonshire to be the best competitive map. Arth, what's your opinion?
I don't agree with that. It's a good map, but I think Curse Hollow is the best
That's what I've heard a lot.
because
Versus the best.
I can't
It's
pinpoint.
it's either or.
I can't pinpoint exactly why I like Curse Hollow so much better, but I
We should
really
talk
do.
about Curse. Let's talk about that Icona video.
Well, we'll get there. Let's just wrap up the hammer discussion. The final thing I
Okay.
want to do for the hammer discussion is I just wanted I wanted Corey to give a quick when to and when not to siege for a new player. Now, just really quick. So many new players pick up hammer. They want to siege up because she's a siege tank. When is the right time when it's okay to siege as hammer? Just a quick deal.
You better be sure that you know where every single member of the other team is and that they are at least a lane away, and then you can siege up right outside the range of like their towers or something. Rarely, occasionally, like on Dragonshire, you can siege up if you have a ton of mines in a bush near you and you know that you can't really get surrounded. Sure, you can siege up to like put pressure on the lane. More often than not, stay away from sieging. It's going to get you in a lot more trouble than you know how to deal with at that point. So
And correct me
That's
if I'm
my
wrong.
advice.
Sieging gives you splash damage, but not additional damage.
no additional damage to structures. You get
Okay.
25% splash damage to whatever's nearby that hits it. So it's really good for taking out minion waves. It's good for dealing with structures because you can hit like a tower and also take out the wall. But it's really the only use you're going to get out of it in a team fight is the extra range. Sometimes that helps you to zone out an objective like on Cursed Hollow, but it's really hard to set up, and like your whole team has to be playing around you to make that work, and it's kind of all in-ish. If it doesn't work, then the whole team fight collapses and you probably are going to get aced. So it's kind of scary, and I would advise especially new players to stay away from trying to set stuff like that up.
Well, you heard it here, aspiring hammers. Be careful when you siege. It's
Yes.
it's a risky maneuver. But Zoya, you wanted to take us into discussion on Cursed?
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot of things, or not a lot of things, but I learned one new thing from that Icona video. Did you guys happen to catch it?
I did.
I did, yeah.
I thought he was did a
I
good job
didn't watch
explaining
it.
it.
So we kind of had narrowed down how the spawning works on how the tributes work. I knew the first one, which was a tribute can't spawn in a spot it's already spawned in until all 6 have been rotated through, which was news to me.
That's the only rule that I was aware of.
Yeah, it was the only rule I was aware of. I'm forgetting the second one right now, but there's the vertical rule as well, which if it spawns,
I'll find the video and I'll link it.
yeah, link it in the chat. It's a really good video. It explains how I know people as soon as bleh, the moment we brought up curves, words. The moment we brought up curves, we had like 8 RNG comments in chat, but it's less RNG than you think. Kona did a really good job of explaining a lot of the mechanics on the map. There's the vertical rule where if it spawns in the first, like there's 3 vertical sections, you have left, middle, and right. If it spawns in one vertical section, it won't spawn in the next. It'll spawn in either the second or the third. So you can narrow down. And I'm forgetting there's 3 rules.
So if it's spawned on 2 in a row on the same hemisphere, it has to spawn on the bottom hemisphere. But then there's the second tribute doesn't follow those 2 rules. It's actually really complicated.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
watch that video though.
It does. He does a good job explaining it. So like if you go through the whole video, he gives some examples so you can guess as like roughly where the next one's going to be. Like even down to like sometimes you have a situation where you're like, I know it's going to be on their side of the map, so like we have to try to get aggressive and try to push out, or we know it's going to be on our side. We can push them back and then fall back into taking the tribute. There's definitely some merit to knowing roughly where the next tribute is going to be.
It's a lot like it's less RNG than I thought. I mean, it's still RNG. Like Kubi said, I was only aware of it can't spawn in the same spot.
Right.
Were you aware of all of the things he went over, Arthlan? I'm assuming you guys.
Oh, I didn't even watch it.
Oh.
Well, what rules are you aware of for the tributes, or do you guys just react?
I didn't know there were any rules.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there are quite a few.
Yeah.
It's complicated. It's
complicated, but it definitely helps if you keep track of it. Like they go over. He was saying how there are times where they're able to kind of predict where it's going to be, or be on the right hemisphere, and like they'll be on that section of the map stacked.
Interesting.
I mean, it's very advanced play. Like Kubi said multiple times, it's not simple.
Yeah.
And like Arthlan's on the best team right now, and he wasn't even aware of all 3 rules. It's very complicated, but it's cool. I didn't realize.
Yeah, and I really like to see like deep diving into stuff like that. Like really, let's analyze this. Let's post up videos because we could use more stuff like that in the community right now.
No, it's great. Props
to you, Kona, for that for sure.
Yeah, it's a huge utility that the community needs. So, that's some cool stuff. And but other things we talked about this last week. I just kind of want to pick Arthlan's brain since we're on the topic of Cursed Hollow. Is we talked about the early curse kind of having that advantage. If it spawns on your side of the map, the death timers are so low, you have that advantage. You said it's your favorite map. Do you not look at that as a challenge? Do you think the death timers are early game are fine? Do you have any thoughts on that kind of debate?
I think early game death timers could be a little bit longer, especially because you have these objectives early on, so it doesn't feel as rewarding to kill somebody because it's like, wow, they're right back in the fight, and now we have the disadvantage because we've used our health and resources to kill that person, and they have full health. So I think they could definitely be longer early game, but they could also be like shorter in like the mid game,
but not the late game.
Not the late game.
So, good luck, Blizzard, finding out that formula.
I'm sure it's not that complex.
Yeah. It would be less intuitive though. Like it wouldn't scale linearly, so it'd be maybe a bit strange if someone's trying to figure out roughly how long it's going to take them to respawn. But interesting, and of course, things will change too with Resurgence not being played as much. People's opinions on how long the late game timers should be.
Yeah, they should definitely change Resurgence first, and then you can say,
of course,
what should the death timers be late game.
Well, we know Resurgence is getting changed, so we're not even going to talk about that. We've butchered that topic the last few weeks. We know the change is coming. Hopefully the patch is next week, but time will tell for sure in regards to a patch. All right, well, I guess we can talk about the new skins. We actually skipped that entirely. Let me
Arth
go.
is excited.
Oh, I'm gonna buy like every single skin I saw in that video and the reindeer.
So
I'm
every
excited.
every dollar of
Dude, that
tournament
reindeer
earnings-
mount.
What about
Yeah, all that Battle.net juicy currency we've got.
Oh
pay
yes,
off here.
we're all so rich because Jared made everyone buy money pigs. Now we have nothing to our name.
it? I know. We are actually
pig
all
hype.
so poor.
It's a worthy investment.
Yeah, it is.
I will
Arthlon,
say-
there are two people in the world who got Money Pig before me. Soldier is one of them, and Arthlon's the other.
All right.
Wow.
Let's talk about. You guys can see it on your Skype, right? It's
Yeah, I
working
can see it.
tonight.
Yeah.
It's actually working for once.
Yay.
We got Great Father Winter Rhaegar. You guys know I'm going to be getting this because I love Rhaegar. My question is, they haven't shown us a new wolf form. His wolf form
Oh, yeah,
better
you're
be
right.
beautiful.
They said it does have a different form.
Oh, it does. They did say that.
Yeah,
I should read things.
I'm
just gonna
expecting
be
at
a-
least antlers.
It's gonna be a
At
straight up
least.
reindeer, and it's gonna be awesome.
Pretty godlike.
The Jaina one's so cool.
Jaina,
Look at
I like
that.
this one a lot.
Oh,
every
I
single
love the
person on
Jaina
the
one.
internet is going to buy this. Like it's
Too good.
the staff.
Very well
and
done.
she's a frost mage. It's like
Yeah.
it's so perfect.
Yeah.
It's a very well done skin. I like
It's
it a
it's
lot.
really good. It's really good.
Oh.
You know, let's on the topic of Jaina. I think December 15th is when the Christmas holiday starts for World of Warcraft. But this
Here we
pretty
go
much confirms that Jaina will be coming out this holiday season. Because
You're
why would they
right.
show us this new
I-
skin? Why would they show us this new skin if the hero's not going to be out yet?
I've heard it from several people that she's coming out this patch, the next patch.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
like
but
Jaina
I mean,
for
I'm
all-
just saying that means a big patch is going to be like
Yeah.
here, like hopefully
There's a lot of
next
things to point to. Like she's
Yeah.
clearly the most like well developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
hero so
definitely
far,
the most refined.
From what
at
we saw at
BlizzCon.
BlizzCon. Yeah.
This Sham 2 named mount, the Rain Deer. This is it's pretty damn good though. I gotta say.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd really care about a holiday mount ever, but I saw this and it's like of all the things holiday related, this is probably the first thing I'd get because it goes in all my characters.
I don't get the joke.
Oh my goodness.
Well, explain
it to
it.
him, Jake.
No, I'm not doing that. We're talking about skins.
Yeah, why is it a reindeer? Why is that Shamtu name joke?
It's a pun.
How? It was a reindeer mount.
Yeah,
You know how to
but
spell reindeer?
Yeah? R. How was it spelled in the video?
REIGN.
rain.
Oh, okay,
Rain.
I didn't see
Rain.
that.
There we go.
Listen, I didn't look at the video Jake was showing.
So
okay.
Betrayer
That's
Malfurion.
okay, Jared.
So now if you guys obviously you haven't seen it if you weren't at BlizzCon, they actually remodeled Malfurion and ETC entirely. So the base skin for Malfurion, the secondary skin that's already available in the game, both got remodels. They look way better. They have this Betrayer Malfurion, which you can see here in the video. It kind of gives you a glimpse
No,
of like
this
the
is good, but I feel like there was a tint that this does not do justice.
Oh, there's
One
a
of
tint
the tints
that's
just looked incredible.
there's a godlike
Yeah,
tint
I
of
didn't
this.
hover over Malf at BlizzCon, so I missed that.
Dude, his new skin is great. His master skin is phenomenal. I have 10k gold waiting for that master skin because it's so good.
Oh, they had Master Skin there too. Wow.
Yeah, they have master skin for
ETC
ETC,
had one
as
as
well.
well.
He has Death Metal ETC is his master skin, and Betrayer Malf is really good. Like honestly, just in general, the texturing on the hero, really well done. Really, those are the final two heroes to get a texture update, and now every single hero has either had full textures or received an update since the launch of the alpha. So.
Yeah, every hero has a Master Skin now.
And every hero also has a master skin. So really sick, really sick. I like the scythe that they gave him, and I like the way he's holding it really high up on the handle. And then Warden Tyrande, we saw this at PAX.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a good skin. Obviously, very much like Miev will look eventually.
Yeah, that's I was guessing that like the strange, I don't know if I want to call it armor on it. It was some kind of throwback to WoW, or I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's like a sentinel, like a Miev Shadow Song.
All right, yeah.
Question for Arthlon.
Those are lost on me. So,
How do you feel the Blizzard skins compared to Riot skins?
ooh, good question.
Ooh.
In the beginning, they're definitely far superior. Riot, recently, they've been, well, in the last year or two, they've really been like working on their art, and I'd say that they probably are better right now. But if Blizzard's doing these type of things this early on, it means that skins later down the road are going to be really, really well done.
Mm.
Because this is alpha and the skins are already like really, really well done. When Riot only had like reskins for the beginning of their like entire existence. It's just reskins. And Blizzard already has that for you for free. Just saying.
Yeah.
Right. It's true.
What's your favorite skin in the game right now for heroes?
Oh gosh, for heroes. I really like Zagaro's Master Skin. The tints are really
That
nice.
one's 6.
The hat.
The orange one is cool.
It is cool.
I really like Jaina's upcoming Master Skin too. And that Winter Veil skin.
Tier 3?
Yeah.
Tier 3 mage.
I think it's tier 3. I thought it was tier 1 and 2. I'll have to go relook. But
I'll
yeah,
have- I think it's tier 3 though.
those
don't
are probably
know.
my 2 favorites
I don't
by
remember.
far.
A
Murky
good
Master
choice
Skin.
there. All right. So we talked about uncommon heroes. We talked about the skins. We did a recap of esports. Jared, you have your special segment we're adding that's not here, and I haven't been updating the thing here. Rip. Me, rip. We've been out of order as well. Worst show. NA. What are we doing?
What was my? Oh, okay. So I wanted to talk about the state of the professional scene, not the meta or anything like that. The state of the teams. We've been seeing a lot of changes going through teams even before BlizzCon and post BlizzCon. We recently had the announcement that Dunk Train, Biceps, and not Oxy,
Caffeine.
Caffeine,
Caffeine. Yeah.
all left Team Liquid. We've been seeing a lot of teams that were doing really well originally. They're starting to fall off a bit. We've been seeing the rise of new teams.
And let's just clarify, Liquid announced they're gone, but they're not done with Heroes. Liquid
Yes.
will have a new team in the future.
When that future is,
We have no idea. They
don't know.
didn't
Yes.
say soon. They didn't say any time frame whatsoever.
but we'd love to have them back.
So I guess we could talk. I guess I'll segment this. Let's talk about the fall of teams. The first one that comes straight to mind is Evil Geniuses, formerly known as Snowflake. For a long time, they were considered the second best or third best team in North America.
Yep.
Right up until about the time, it was always between SMG number one and then Glorious and Snowflake were considered tied for second for a long time.
Yeah.
And then right up until Two Arcs Revival Rising Action, they were really considered the best. And since then, we've seen the slow decline of EG. We've seen another team, Tempest, who was doing okay for a while, and now they're starting to just be kind of the lower end of the pro teams as well.
Yeah.
What are you like? What do you think the reasoning behind these teams falling off is?
I mean, I can say where EG needs to work on is certainly drafting, and they've admitted that in the past too, is that they need better communication.
Look
and
at
they need
BlizzCon.
better drafting.
Just
Yeah.
look at BlizzCon. I mean, their
Well,
drafts.
that's a little different. I mean, the situation at BlizzCon.
Yeah, but-
was
but-
great.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can't really knock anyone's drafting at BlizzCon because it was so different from what.
But still, that's like one
Yeah.
example where their drafting was subpar, and their drafting in other events are just kind of.
Yeah.
They seem a little bit like predictable. I guess is probably the best way to put it. Like EG, it's very like. I remember we were watching. I think this was Kings of the Storm 2, and it's like every single game, EG is just like, we're gonna ban a noob, and they had their comfort picks. And it was just very like I remember going through the draft, and it was just like we knew what they were gonna pick like before the draft had even started. Like it seemed really just like they.
Is that a drafting error or a limited play or hero pool?
Yeah,
It-
that
it-
might be the case.
Yeah,
as well.
it's maybe it's both. Maybe they need to be able to diversify their play a little bit more.
I think it probably comes down to maybe that they don't have a lot of experience drafting, and that they just need to practice.
Well, I don't think
a
it
lot
can
more.
be that because Idra and LZ Gamer have been drafting since drafting became a thing.
Right, but then you have other teams that have a lot of experience in.
It
other
just seems like
MOBAs
they
where
have.
they are drafting.
Oh, okay.
It just seems like
So-
in their drafting philosophy, they have these few hard rules that they don't budge.
I think that's because of a limited hero pool. more
Yeah,
than
I
anything.
think
May-
that.
may-
Because
maybe
when
it
we were
is.
watching, when we watched Glorious play EG, they ban Tyrael every time because they know that Chiltech can
Yeah,
really
it's
only
either Chillo or LZ. They're gonna always try to grab
they
the
have
hero.
to rotate around, because if a noob's taken or banned, and they can't play him, they got Stitches, Arthas, Tyrael, and a noob. Those are the only four warriors I see them running frequently. So if you take out their heavy hitter Tyrael, they seem to struggle a bit.
Yeah, I mean, can't disagree.
So they certainly have some weaknesses in drafting, and they've also mentioned that they could work on their communication. I don't know if it's necessarily that they've gotten worse, or maybe other teams have just picked up the slack and are really bringing it, and maybe they just stayed the same. It's hard to say without.
I would
Arthur,
go,
I mean,
I would go
you've
the
been
latter.
in, you've been through two. I mean, you played a league and then you've played Heroes. You've seen the rise and fall of teams multiple times through multiple games. What do you think the main reason is that we're seeing some teams that were doing well before are struggling now?
Well, sometimes it's just you don't have like a good synergy between team members, and there's nothing really you can do to fix it besides finding new players. And I know EG's been shuffling their roster a lot. Well, not recently, but they were in the past. So I think they're still trying to find that good synergy between 5 members. And I think once they have that, they'll be a really good team. But it's not really something they have right now, if I was to be honest.
So you would say mechanically all the players individually are pretty strong, but maybe you
Yes.
see some synergy problems. Okay.
I mean, we don't really have much to talk about on the falling teams. We've seen a bunch of teams who have stayed the same, which not too like Clairvoyant and Wildfire.
Yeah,
they've
we haven't seen
all
much out of
been-
C9 too. I think that's a good one to talk about.
Well, C9. Okay, yeah.
I mean, obviously, Liquid is done. The Liquid we knew is gone, and they looked really, really strong going into BlizzCon, and then at BlizzCon, not so much. Fast forward, and then the team's just gone. Now, there's rumors that those 3 that left Liquid were seen playing with, what was it, Zuna?
Kenma,
And
maybe? Probably Kenma.
I don't remember who the
Zuna
first
and
was.
Kenma are
I
usually
think it was
playing
Zuna
together.
Kenma. So maybe that's a new team, which means that we have a new Cloud9 coming up. Maybe Liquid and Cloud9 traded players. Maybe there's a whole new team coming in. There's a good chance that organizations like TSM are looking at the community. Other companies like Complexity and Dignitas, they haven't gone in yet. Fnatic still needs to pick up a solid roster because their BlizzCon roster was temporary. We're never going to see that roster play again. So there's a lot of teams, but like in terms of the teams that have stable rosters right now, how many are there? That's like one of the biggest questions we can ask for this whole discussion. It's like, well, there's SMG, there's 2ARC, Wildfire, Clairvoyant, and that's
and Tempest.
Tempest.
Clairvoyant's really stable. I thought they had a new roster this weekend.
Oh, maybe they do.
Did they?
I swear
I
knew
think
Atlanta wasn't playing them until Saturday.
I thought it was just they had subs in for the day. I didn't know they actually changed rosters.
Oh, maybe they just had subs. I don't know.
I don't know for
Um,
sure. They could be new rosters.
either way, though.
Subs.
When we look at this topic in general, Heroes is so young. The game's in alpha. There's not like a lot of prizing out there. It's going to be a while before we have a lot of stable rosters, and
Okay, Clairvoyant does have a new roster.
they do have a new roster. Interesting.
Okay, so not that.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, I
Well,
mean
I was
the
gonna
game's
say.
new. We're gonna see a lot of shifts for sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a while before these things take
Especially when
place.
you have the closed beta players coming in. There's going to be a lot of new players, a lot of new talent.
I mean, a lot of we've seen so many people come from other games, like yourself coming from League, and how many more are going to come when the game finally gets big? Because a lot of people will disregard Heroes and say, well, it's not on the front page of Twitch, so why would I waste my time on it? And as soon as it's at that level, a lot of guys that are maybe a little bit washed out in StarCraft 2 or other games might want to try their luck in this game. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of other talent coming into the scene, like you said, but I think the more interesting story is just like the consistent rosters and watching them grow.
It's not just the consistent rosters. Well, I mean, yes, that's also a good point, but I want to talk about the teams that do well, that are staying, that have been doing well. There's only been 2 teams that have consistently been this good. There's SMG, who has been good since the start, and then there's 2ARC, who the moment they did well, everyone
Yeah.
immediately started doubting them.
But
and they've adapted and adapted and
It's
adapted.
been less
since
than a
then.
month. It's been less than a month.
It's been more
Yeah,
than a
that new
month.
New York hasn't been around
It's
that
been
long.
less than a month, dude. It's
Oh.
been like
I thought their first upset was like 2 months ago.
might have no, it hasn't been that long. It really
don't
hasn't
think
been that
so.
long. They've been really rock solid. Maybe it's been a month. They've been really solid for like a month, but who's to say
I
that Glorious
take that
wasn't
back.
solid for that long? And Glorious, that's another team that's kind of in the middle of the pack right now. They were really top dogs, but they're definitely in the top 5, in NA easily. But probably number 3, honestly. But maybe tied with Wildfire. It's hard to say.
No, I'd say they're number 3. I'd say they're number 3 right now.
Yeah, just above Wildfire.
Just above Wildfire, yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, never mind. For some reason, it feels like 2Arc's been doing.
No,
well
I mean, granted, they're doing great, and I don't want to take
Yeah.
anything away from them, but it hasn't actually been that long of a run. So I can't really say they've been a consistent 5-stack for that long.
Let's talk about SMG. And we have one of their members here. You've been around since the start. What is? I mean, obviously you have 5 really talented players, but what is it that makes you guys adapt? Because I think the main thing is that you're able to adapt to new metas quicker than anybody else, and then discover what is it that, I mean, obviously you can't give out your inside or strats and stuff, but why? What is it that makes you there's never a moment that you have not looked like the best or not been just consistently playing well. Where other teams, they will be up there doing well, but then they'll fall off for a bit, and then they'll come back and then they'll fall off again. But you guys never do that. Is it just the talent?
No, I don't want to say it's just the talent. We have all 5 of our members. We love to theory craft and test out things, and we easily find what's the best, what works, what doesn't. And when you have such a big variety to test from, we do, it's easy to find, or easy to say, hey, this hero counters this hero that this team's running the strategy for. So we have something to pull out that you may have not seen for quite a while. And another thing is, we have our consistent strategies we run. Recently we've been doing Raynor, Rhaegar, and Kerrigan and things like that. And teams tend to copy that. Well, when you copy that and try to run it against us, it's we know what works against it.
That's true.
So when you do that, you can beat every other team, but you're not going to be able to beat the team that's been doing it. So and I know a lot of teams have been doing that. I'm not pointing any fingers, but it's something you should do. This team's winning. Let's try what they're trying. But when you end up doing that, you're just playing catch up the whole time. So it's not really us being innovators or doing all these new things. It's just we've already done them before, and we know how to just go around the block in terms of meta, I guess.
No, you're actually just flat out calling out every other team and saying, no, you guys need to step your game up and you need to start countering our comps. Because, every time you guys lose, it seems like it's not a composition that you guys run. You guys lose to stuff that's not something that you're used to fighting against. Now, granted, that's only going to get them one win because you guys adapt symbiotically very quickly. And
Thank you, Kevin.
had to get one pun in there, stupid little quirky thing in there this show. But you guys respond really quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, we always talk about that the Nova counter game. You guys were playing Nova. You guys were really this was right after the Nova patch, and we saw the triple tank Rhaegar come out, lightning breath, and you guys got rocked by Wildfire. I mean, they brought the pain that game. It was just completely shut Nova out. But yeah, more of that. I mean, just more finding what people are doing, finding the norms of teams, and just counterplaying. There's so much counterplay in this game. There really is. And even with a limited hero pool, it makes it harder to be hyper creative. And I think the 3 new heroes coming into the game are going to shake things up a lot.
Oh yeah, Jaina's
especially with Earthquake. Anyway.
You're done.
Earthquake.
You're done. No, he was making a pun. Shaking things up. Earthquake.
Oh,
He's got to work on the delivery.
So
I need to work on that.
I got one more question for Arth. You guys have multiple people who were either Challenger League or Diamond high ranked on your team and league. Now we do have some other skilled MOBA players who have transitioned over, but your entire team seems to have high level MOBA experience. Do you think that is one of the most impactful things for your team doing well?
I definitely think it is. League is actually really similar to Heroes in terms of how the metagame works. If you want to stay competitive, if you want to beat other teams, League and Heroes is almost exactly the same, because it's you have your counter picks, your counter strategies, when do you go for the throat? When do you win a team fight? And it's things like that League players know a lot more than like StarCraft players, for example. And another thing is team communication. The communication is almost exactly the same too. What do you tell your teammates? What information do you give them? When are your cooldowns off? When you can use your abilities to like CC an opponent? A lot of things like that are extremely similar to League. So I think League players definitely have a big edge over other players from different backgrounds. And I know we have 3 players like that. The ones you mentioned are Challenger. Matt Timmy was Diamond, I think, in like season 1 and 2. Soldier was Diamond, season 1 and 2. KO and Dread, I don't think they came from League. They played it before, but they're not like extraordinary or anything. KO actually has a Smite background, and I don't know much about Smite.
He used to be really good at Smite.
Yeah.
What
I
team
know
was he
was
on?
at the top. I think he was on Cognitive, and I think he was on Dignitas.
Yeah, he used to be
But
really good.
I think that's right.
I know
I
he
used to
played
play Smite a
competitively.
lot, so I remembered him from watching professional Smite.
So he has MOBA experience too. I think Dread is the only person who doesn't have any MOBA experience.
He's
I don't
just
think Dredd's
awful at
ever been-
everything.
Jeez.
But he's so handsome, you can't get rid of him.
Well,
Fact.
it's the funny thing is because Dread's our shot caller, so you wouldn't expect a person
That
in
is
a team
kind of
full of MOBA, or a team full of people who have MOBA experience to have the person who hasn't played a MOBA before competitively to be the shot caller. So
I
found
actually
that
remember him
interesting.
saying he never played competitively, but I know him and Hawkfu
He had, like-
they used to
I think
play
they did
League.
some LANs or
They used to
something.
compete at their lands for League, I believe, is what I remember. him telling
Local
me.
LANs are kind of
Yeah.
really
I don't-
subpar.
it's-
Oh, I mean, yeah. I didn't want to make it seem like
That's
he
the
was
thing.
completely new to
Yeah.
the MOBA.
Right.
Well, I know he played a lot of Halo, so
Yeah, but that's a scrub game, so.
Yeah, but it does involve teamwork and shot calling, and
Yeah,
at a
that's
a good
very
point.
fast-paced, very you need to make decisions immediately.
I miss
Um,
professional Halo.
so-
that stuff was fun to watch.
competitive Halo, honestly, being able to call territories, being able to call spots on the map at the fly, call power-ups and stuff like that, I actually see, now that I never thought about this, but I actually see a lot of relation to that and Heroes because the games play out pretty similarly in that regard in terms of the pacing. But like you said, it's actually really interesting that you have multiple semi-pro League players and a pro Smite player on a team being ordered around by someone who was not in those
Yeah.
shoes.
Like I'm terrible at FPSs, and I've never been good at them. I've never played them a bunch, so I don't know.
Yeah, I
what
played
goes
Overwatch
on.
with you. I know you're bad.
I played Mercy. I put the beam on one of my players. I'm like, okay, you can do all the work. I'll
Do
just
the
sit in
beam
this
thing,
corner.
yeah.
Go
Yeah.
forth. All right, cool. Well, that's kind of our little team update. Unless there's any teams you guys that you can think about. Now, we did talk about EU. That was strictly an NA discussion. The EU scene, none of us really follow it that closely.
It's
Honestly?
really
So-
volatile right now. It's
Yeah.
even more volatile.
It's
It is.
MYI and Mouse, I believe, that do well.
Yeah,
and then
that's it. Everyone
kinda
else
like-
is just
Isn't SK up there too?
yeah,
I don't
these guys
know.
been
Maybe
doing well
now.
lately. They've been doing
Okay.
pretty well.
I
But
thought they
think
got
they're-
second or first.
Yeah, I think at
Yeah.
the EU.
EU's so hard
HBL.
for me to follow. Like, it's
Um,
amazing how split these scenes are already.
they're
It's
so
alpha.
different. Yeah,
It's crazy.
But it'll be nice. It'll be just like a lot of other games where when we have those big lands, we see how the teams match up. They're very
That'll
different
be a lot of
communities
fun.
in terms of like the meta and in terms of like just the average tournaments and week to week. But once we have the DreamHack and the big events, they'll be clashing, if you will. We're actually going to be casting a Asia tournament next week, so it'll be interesting to see how they're progressing.
Strictly Asian, or like the last one where SMG won it?
I actually don't know. I just got
More details. to
very,
follow.
very, very minimal details, so we'll have more info on that soon.
The Asian
And-
scene is really abstract. So
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
run
love-
murky, dude. They freaking run
Yeah,
murky, man.
I love watching. They run things like Muradin and like Lily. So
They run
I
things
always
like
love
what?
watching that.
So
What
we'll
was
be.
the first one you said?
Leave him alone, Jared.
Oh, the way he pronounced it. So it's actually just.
Wait, what?
How'd you say the first hero you named? The tank
Really?
that's a dwarf?
No.
Oh, Muradin. What?
No.
Is that wrong?
No.
Is it
No.
Muradin?
No.
Muradin?
Stop!
Close.
Stop!
Muradin.
He turned into a Diablo.
Muradin?
Muradin.
Muradin.
Muradin?
Muradin.
Okay.
All right,
Muradin.
all right. Enough of this.
Murd.
Enough of
Got
this.
it.
All right, guys. Well, we had some drama this past weekend regarding HPL's format and tournament format in general has been
little bit.
kind of all over the place. We
Some
have
hiccups.
We have leagues. We Kings of the Storm has had a different tournament format to some regard every single week, and just trying to find what works best because Heroes has a unique pacing. It's not StarCraft 2 pacing. It's not the same as anything else. It's unique for best of threes, and the game length can vary pretty hard. But in terms of like seeding and the way seeding is handled, well, there was a bit of drama. And,
Jake,
what's up?
that thumping, bro.
Oh, they can't hear it. You can hear it. Suffer.
we can
Oh,
hear it.
He's
We
striking
can
the
hear it.
gavel. Striking it down.
They can't hear it. That's
This
good.
is the court.
When I get
of
on
the
like rant
tournament.
mode, I start pounding my desk,
Yeah,
and
and it's
they hear a
loud.
different microphone, which is the desk mic, and it's very loud for them. So I'm just gonna try to find the threads from the weekend. I did read them.
Well,
I have a question before while Jake looks for that.
Okay.
Is HPL a new thing? Just like did they
No, they're new. They have no past in other
no
games, to my
experience
knowledge.
past before Heroes?
I don't think so. I'm like
Okay.
I'm like 70. No, I'm like 80% sure.
So this is something I mean I think both Jake and I and probably Corey as well and I actually got Arthlon as well. When the new tournament organizer enters the scene, they do like this is something we've seen before where it's just kind of like
It can
They
get
need to
messy.
establish themselves.
they don't know what they're doing. They
I
just
mean,
do things.
They do a
that
lot
are-
of really good stuff, but a lot of
Yeah.
things are just like done without a lot of thought. And they, I mean, this mistake this weekend was like, if you paid attention to any other league, this could have been avoided. Like if you just understood, it's like seeding is done a very the way seeding should be done. If you have 8 teams in a tournament, let's say it's an 8-man bracket, seed 1 plays against seed 8. On
Yep.
the other side of the bracket, you have seed 2 playing against seed 7. And then, it just staggers around so that the top seeds are as far away from each other as possible. And well, I'm trying to find the threads.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
really
tournament
bad at this.
organizing has gone on for so long that like it's a new game, so you have to find the format. Like obviously, the same format for an event can't run between the same game just
Right.
because of the in-game mechanics. But seeding has been around, and the specific like mathematical things that have been around tournaments have been ironed out since before. Like seeding's been something that's been going on since
Not
like
esports,
chess tournaments.
just
not
yeah,
even
it's
esports.
not
like, it's-
sports.
You don't mess with
Sports.
seeding. Like that is
Like-
something that is done.
If you're
Okay.
playing, hopscotch, and you got a tournament, you seed it the same way. Like,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
true. Okay, so to summarize the issue, I think it was Wildfire.
It
that had
was
the
one.
issue.
It was
Okay,
one of the
so-
ESV teams.
Yeah, it was, I think it was ESP Wildfire. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But they basically were talking to the tournament organizer saying, okay, now that we're done with all these qualifiers and they're looking to get this playoff bracket, based on the amount of points that each team had earned, they were pretty sure they knew who they're going to play. Like, okay, if this team wins here, we're playing this team, and if they lose, we play against this team. And they even got confirmation of this like through Skype from the tournament organizer. Like, yes, this is who we are playing, 100% final. The time is not set. And then like a week goes by, they were probably practicing against that team. Like they were watching past VODs, like, checking what kind of strategies they have, catering what like their strategy was going to be going into those matches based on who they were going to play. And then all of a sudden, day of, or I'm not sure how many days before it was, not enough time. Basically, they said, "Oh no, we're moving this bracket around, and you're going to be playing against this team." So it was like, okay, not cool, basically. So yeah, I think that's the gist of it for the most part. I don't know if you guys have anything to
Yeah.
add to that, but
Yeah,
I
no,
mean-
that sounds about right.
yeah, it's.
I do want to go over Diamond's big post he made.
yeah,
His apology.
Well, not Pride. Diamond.
Oh,
He's the
yeah,
one
yeah,
that
yeah,
started
yeah,
it.
right, right.
Now, what
He brought
everything
to
he
light.
said was very justifying stuff, but I did feel like he exaggerated a little bit. Just, I mean, obviously you're upset when something like this happens to your team,
Right.
but
Well, elaborate.
like I just remember I don't have the exact post, so I hate throwing out numbers. So he's like, "We practice 120 hours for this team specifically."
All right, I found his post. I'm going to link it here in the chat, and I will link it
Or
for the
something like
YouTube
that.
viewers.
Obviously, he was upset, and I would have been upset too if my team, if that's something like that happened to my team as well.
So
Yeah, it's-
that's Diamond's post.
Yeah.
And probably did or respond to that in there, so you guys can find that it's buried in there somewhere.
I remember seeing something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Like that's why I wish I would have read the thread before we did this discussion. But,
I mean, I did read it, and that was the gist that I had gotten from it. So
I mean, obviously you're upset, and I'm not trying to fault Diamond.
yeah,
But just so the viewers know,
Yeah.
you know,
Just
it,
it's one of those things where it's a growing pain, I guess. Like it's
Yeah.
it's mistakes that shouldn't have happened. They didn't have to happen, and it sucks they happened. But they'll learn. It's just kind of like learning the hard way for HPL. Like we said, we're not sure if they have any history running leagues or tournaments or anything. And this is a very newbie mistake. Like if you were to
Yeah.
do that, like
and
okay,
they made mistakes like this before.
so like Corey and I come from the Smash community, and we're not going to talk about Smash, but just like we were tournament directors. That's what we did back in the day. We ran tournaments, and it's a very cutthroat community where if you did seeding like this, any kind of weird seeding, like people would just boycott your event. They would just be like, "Nope, that's dumb. Your seeding's bad. We hate you." Done. Like
more than that, like they will just assume that you're taking favoritism for,
Yeah,
for
exactly.
players, and then they'll just be like, okay, like are you cutting pots with them? Like they're gonna jump to these conclusions immediately. Like no good.
they
no
split
bueno.
prize money.
Don't
Yeah,
do
like
this stuff.
yeah. So
People
it's-
are gonna jump to conclusions that are honestly ridiculous, but they're gonna say it, and like it's all bad PR
Yep.
for you, and it doesn't look good for the future. Like if people are like, oh, we want to jump into this league, oh, but this thing happened last season. It's you want to like do your best to avoid these things at all costs, obviously, but they look worse than they probably are.
Yeah.
It's just how it happens.
Now, notice Arthlon's really quiet because he's like, I don't care. We're going to beat whoever they put against us. He doesn't have any comments. Like, whatever. We're just going to win.
I just play the game.
I'm doing it now. As they were playing now.
I leave it to the team managers to worry about my seating and stuff like that.
But yeah. So
it's something we've seen before from other games, and it's not that we want to poop on HPL or
Right,
anything.
right.
No.
It's,
That's not
the-
it's something we've seen before, and we want the community to know that this happens with newer leagues. And as long as we saw Pride's responses, and HPL's goofed in the past, and they've always worked to fixing that. So
yeah, they owned up to it, so it's not bad in any way. Like I'm sure they'll make a lot of adjustments to
Yep.
correct that in the future. But it was something that happened. We wanted to address it essentially. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, growing pains, live and learn. And season 2, they have announced it. It's coming. And a bigger prize pool. I think it was $600 for season 1. Season 2 has $2,000 or something.
yeah, that's freaking awesome.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah,
Of course,
so
like,
that's huge.
growth.
That's really good. First, notable prize money here in North America. Granted, Kings of the Storm, sponsored by Sia Steve and Katia, Kitten of the Storm, giving that extra money every week, and then the monthlies have what's it? Was it 500?
500
It's
Amazon.
500. 500 Amazon gift cards. That's pretty solid. Pretty solid. Get those Christmas presents. But all right, I think that really just kind of covers that discussion, and that really only leaves. Here's a tournament format thing I didn't turn on. RIP production value. Kubies. Jared, what's the next word?
Kubi's questions.
No, do it over. That
I
was so
can't. My
lackluster.
roommates are sleeping. I can't go any louder than
This is
that.
where we need Kevin to be really loud because he would always sub in for you.
I
All
got
right.
2 new roommates, so I can't be
Oh no.
screaming this late. Yeah, it's terrible. It's actually the worst. I hate it, but I can't scream.
So I have amazing clairvoyance, and I knew that we would just be transitioning immediately from tournament talk. So I segued right into talking about tournaments, and it's perhaps a bit of a controversial topic. But
Uh-oh.
Wow.
I will say that perhaps maybe just before BlizzCon, the 2 weeks prior, I'll say a week before that, 2 weeks prior to that, there was a point where there was maybe 6 or 7 tournaments going on within a certain, maybe within a week's time frame. There was 7 tournaments going on for NA scene. I want to hear from 3 different perspectives, from a viewer perspective, from a tournament player perspective, and a casting perspective, if you guys feel there's the right amount of tournaments, not enough, or an oversaturation in the tournament scene.
Let's start with Arthlon.
Yeah.
Players.
How does
In
this
the
affect
beginning-
how much time you have to put into practicing? How do you I'm sure it's difficult for you guys to schedule time out. I want to hear all of that perspective wise. So
There was definitely a time where we were playing more tournaments than we were actually practicing, which is fine because you are practicing when you're playing a tournament. I think it's fine in the beginning because for a new team you have to put your name out there, and there's no better way to do that than to play in tournaments and either get better or prove that you are a good team. But after a while, it's like you can only play for glory so much, and after a certain point, it's like, no, we can't play your tournament. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
because the time invested is just not worth it. If there's a prize pool, obviously, if you want to win the prize pool, you need to play the tournament.
Yep.
But if there's no prize pool and it's just for glory, after a certain point, you're saying, well, we have these 18 other tournaments we're playing. We simply don't have time for it, and it hasn't hit that point yet. It's come really close, but yeah, that's basically the player's perspective. Is like, how much time do you want to be playing in tournaments, and is it worth your time?
Okay.
So far, it has been worth our time.
So far, but like you said, that breaking point might be there. And I mean, how many? I guess my question for you is how. I know this is Kubi's segment.
All right. Well, first, before you go, I will say that my follow-up question is I want to see how you feel it should change moving into the future. I don't know if that's what you were about to ask, Jake.
I was gonna ask how many games he plays a week.
Okay. So then, as long as you're not stealing my question, you can ask. Go ahead.
So how many games you play a week, and then how many games in the future? Wherever Kubi said. I'll stop talking. That's Kubi's questions.
So I guess I'll answer Kubi's question first because
Okay.
it was follow up. Wait, what was it?
I forgot it too, bro.
All
Don't
right,
worry.
so based on your response, you're saying it's come close a couple of times.
Oh, how can it change for the future?
Yeah.
Okay,
What do you want to see? How do you want to see the scene move forward in terms of?
But it really
saturation?
depends because it depends
Obviously,
on
a
who's
lot
ranked.
of money, of course. Like like what prize pooling is going to be, like whether it's worth it for you guys too. But you can make assumptions wherever you want. Go ahead.
Like who's running. It depends on who's running the tournament. Like what the tournament actually is. Kings of the Storm, for example, for a 1-day weekly tournament, we felt that it took way too long with like the double elimination and whatnot. Like we had a point where we were just waiting like 4 hours for the rest of the losers bracket to like get to the point where it's the grand finals.
It's brutal.
Yeah, and for something like that, it's really brutal. Like if you're sitting around just waiting to play a game, you actually play a lot worse when you actually get around to it because you've just been
old.
sitting around all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it really depends on like what the tournament is and who's running it. Leagues are usually fine because you end up playing only a couple games a week, so you could be in like 8 leagues at once and it'd be fine because it's not that much of a time commitment per week. But as for like weekly tournaments, they should probably be really short and not have a lot of teams in it. And that goes for things like Kings of the Storm and up and coming ESL. They had Go for Lulz all the time, and Go for Lulz lasted like all day. And I didn't really enjoy playing them because it just took way too long for best of 1 matches. So I guess the main point here is just if you're having like a weekly tournament, just make sure it doesn't last too long.
Okay. It's fair. That's a good response. I like it. Now I want to hear perspective from casters. So Jake, Jared.
Coming from StarCraft, where I used to cast Playhem 4 to 5 nights a week for 4 hours, would cast DreamHack, IEMs, like qualifiers, MLGs on the weekends, and then do my own YouTube casting. There's just not near enough stuff going on. There's like the 2 majors we have, King of the Storm and then ESL. That's not even close to enough casting for me to want to do. I want to cast close to every day, and we're not at that point yet. Unless you're starting to like just do random YouTube casts where teams are still being very private with their replays or not handing things out like they were in StarCraft. It's still so I can't like just like sit there casting replays all day of scrims, and even then that's not as valuable as casting a tournament. So from a caster's perspective, I want more things to do.
Anything that you want to see change in the future in terms of format, frequency, anything like that?
Just like mirroring everything Arthlon said. Like daily tournaments can't have double elim. Leagues are fine because leagues are my favorite to cast because they have a storyline. And if you're like when I casted ECS with Dunk Train, like I did most of the casting with them. Like we would see week to week the growth of these teams and the storyline evolving. So I've always preferred casting leagues, but there's also something very exciting and fun about casting, the big MLGs or the big dream hacks for a weekend. Getting to see like SMG's the team that's coming in hot to win, but then you got Clairvoyant coming out of nowhere, knocking them out third round or something. So big tournaments are also fun, but. Yeah, I prefer everything that Arthlon said though about the formats and stuff. Really,
Okay.
it's the same for a caster.
Let me throw it back to Arthlon real quick. In terms of Kings of the Storm, just because I'm of course partial to that a little bit. You said you didn't want to see losers brackets in the one-day tournaments. What about the 3 qualifier system they have now, and then the monthly? Is it okay for the monthly to have a double elim, especially like when there is an additional prize pool, or still would prefer to see it single elim?
Yeah, things like that are fine because, you've been playing these previous weeklies to get into this big tournament with the prize pool. So, you don't want to get cheesed out in a one, best of 3 or something. You want the best teams to win, and sometimes you need double elimination to do that. So I'm fine with that.
Okay, cool. All right, let's hear from Jake.
Yeah, I think I like the league idea. Like you said, it's really easy for players. As a caster, it gives opportunity for more and more casters. Obviously, the more opportunity, the better. There is a point of oversaturation. I don't think we've hit it, but I don't think it's that far off either. It's just a matter of whether or not the content is actually good. Because you can just say, hey, I'm running a show match, but if it's just like bad teams, bad production, there needs to be effort put in, and I just don't think that churning out just subpar content is worthwhile. I like the idea of more invitationals, and I like because opens are really hard to do. I think opens should be a far and few thing that exists in stuff like ESL. ESL has an online platform that make opens very viable and very easy to do because they have an entire website based around that. But I think the community is lacking in more smaller invitational. Little 4-man invitationals, best of 3 round 1, and then grand finals, it's best of 5, and it's just single elim, just like a little. It's like 3 hours, 4 hours. Winning team gets $300, and it's good for the players. It can be done on a Monday night. I think that's something the community is lacking. Something more like that. So beyond that, I think it's in a pretty good position right now. But just a little bit more of like smaller invitationals, I'd like to see thrown in there as well.
Okay. This one just popped into my head. For those of you guys familiar with some Hearthstone tournaments, they pull from like top 16 Legend NA. Do you guys feel it will always be a good idea just to pull from the top of the ladder if they're doing an invitational, or do you feel like there should be separate ladders?
Oh wait, are you talking about the team ladder?
The team ladder.
Any ladder.
Or just like if they're trying to pull in new teams, because like Jake was saying, it's logistically incredibly difficult to have a completely open bracket or as many teams jump in as they can fill, or maybe up to like 256 or something ridiculous. So at some point, you're probably, especially with like the length of games that we see in Heroes, you probably need to cut it down. Like, how do you do that? What's like the best?
If the ladder adjusts to the tournament meta that we have, where they're adding picks and bans when we do and stuff like that, and adding the map striking, then sure. But they're not going to do that ever. So there's always going to be that one team or two teams that get there through gimmicks.
They're not going to do that ever right now. I think eventually it will.
They'll never have map striking in
the
ladder.
actual team, not Heroes League, but the actual ranked ladder where you're actually Symbiote Gaming on ladder. It's possible that they implement ridiculous systems. Like we have no idea. They've been so responsive to the community, it's insane, and they're listening to everything we say. So I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen.
Add bans.
That's how League worked.
I think it'll have map bans. Yeah,
you had to be top 16.
I don't know if they'll ever add map bans.
I think they will. I think they absolutely will.
Right now?
Yeah, I'm talking about map bans. They'll add banning eventually. Like, we're going to throw up so much poop at them that they're going to have to add map bans. But
I think they'll have
map
bans.
striking. I don't think they'll have it.
Well, think about a game like Smash, where the map striking adds a lot of depth.
Stage striking is crucial for Smash, and
I'm talking about the Blizzard ladder. I'm not talking about tournaments. Of course, I want that in tournaments. I'm talking about when Blizzard makes their official ranked ladder.
That's what I'm saying. That it would add a lot of depth. To
that would be a good thing if they had it. I think they will.
I think they will.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I want it. This is something
I bet you one money pig. They will.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a lot of cash.
Okay, I do not think they will ever. I do not think they'll ever add map striking to the professional, the ranked ladder for Team League. I don't think they'll ever do it.
All right,
Bans
so
for like heroes, yes, but not
yeah,
maps.
I want to hear Jared your thoughts on how they should seed openly. It's not, you know what I mean?
Like they shouldn't just do like I don't know how it works for Hearthstone, but like they
Some
shouldn't be, like,
tournaments just take top 16 NA for Legend, and just that's who gets qualified for the tournament. So,
I
occasionally it's-
mean, if it's Blizzard's own tournament, then I don't know. There's some I don't know. Like I come back from I come from a StarCraft scene where the StarCraft ladder was actually a joke. Like
Yeah.
so many map hackers, cheaters, you know,
Yeah.
bad players who just won with like 6 pulling every game. So like anytime anyone's like, let's use the real ladder as a ranking, like I just kind of no, because there will be map hacks in Heroes, guys. There was actually
it
a
will.
hack for a while at the beginning when the alpha first launched. There was a legit map hack going around
Yep.
that people were
I
using,
remember that.
and we're going to have more of that. So anytime, I don't know. And then you can make the argument, well, what's going to stop people from using those hacks in real tournaments and stuff? But then you have people watching those games who can be like, whoa, how did they know that was going to happen?
yeah, things
you know,
start to look fishy, and if you see more than one.
But
of
when you just go
instances,
like,
there's-
oh, they're top 16 on ladder, you know, there's always a chance where a team or two got there through either dumb gimmicks, through exploits, or through hacking. And I just come from like a super negative StarCraft scene, so
Okay.
I haven't looked at that from a
It's-
League of
it's
Legends.
merited.
so
perspective.
how do you
Warranted.
fix it? I'm curious. Do you have any ideas, or is it you just think it's a difficult
You
thing
just
to
don't
tackle?
use the you don't just use the
Right. Well,
ranked
how do you invite fairly then?
Well, I like
qualifiers.
from a league background. I liked how they did it. It's they invited the top 16 teams to like a qualifier. So if you're a horrible team and you're top 16 somehow, you'd get weeded out of the qualifier.
Yeah, I like that. As long as it's
But
not like top
obvious-
16 get to play for $1 million, then you know.
Yeah,
Right, yeah,
exactly. Obviously, that takes more time and setup, but I like the way the league did it because if you're a new team that no one knew about, you did have your chance by being in the top 16 of Challenger and getting through the qualifiers.
It's not a bad idea if you're cutting the fat down to 8 teams. You do a qualifier like a day prior or whatever, the week prior, and then you lower it down to 8 teams. I'm actually okay with that idea.
It's just I don't know. It's also like hacking is going to be even more prevalent in this game because it's free to play. You can just like make a new account. Blizzard doesn't do IP banning or anything like that because you can't PC bangs and stuff. Those things get wrecked by that kind of thing.
Right.
But you I don't know. Like I said, I come from a super negative StarCraft scene where hacking was actually happening in real tournaments and stuff. Like Playhem used to have hackers go through them all the time and stuff. So
But there's
it's
the
just
other side of the coin where you have what happened at BlizzCon for Hearthstone. Firebat, someone who, as he claims in his exit interview, was not invited to any tournaments previously. So we don't want that to happen where somebody is just like, hey, I've been actually really good for like the last 3 months, but no one has paid any attention to me.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's a good point. That's actually a really good point. I mean, as long as I like Arthon's idea. You invite the top 16 to a
Yep.
qualifier or something
Work.
like that.
Logistically, it's almost. I won't say it's almost because it depends on what you structure for an open tournament. But like you're adding on, you start. Well, I gotta make exceptions for this, so we need another day to run this tournament because we need to weed out some things. Yeah, there's always going to be logistical nightmares with these things, but it's an interesting topic to tackle.
I think hacking will be easy to track in this game. Like it'll be pretty obvious when teams are like, "Oh, there's ganks coming down. Let me just back off and stuff." I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. It's just something I my mind
And-
is destroyed by StarCraft 4.
In League, there's like almost no hacking at all. There's people who would abuse bugs on certain like champions or something, but usually Riot was pretty good about disabling them. And obviously the players were like, okay, well if you pick this champion, you can't do this, so you abuse the bug or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know how it's going to be on Heroes
It
because it's
depends,
like I've never really dealt with anything like hack wise in League.
at least in terms of abuse of things, at least for COTS, there were some things that Matt was like, he was watching the matches like a hawk.
Like, for
Yeah,
example,
exactly. That's good.
for Kings 3, that's when bribe was just unveiled that you can bribe chests. And it was against the rules to bribe a chest in Kings. And when every game on Blackhearts, like we've got like a 50-inch TV with that I'm the match that's being observed or whatever is on that TV, and Steve just sits there on his laptop mediating the event and watching that screen.
Yeah, he stares at it and he's like, "Oh, Falstad took bribe." He's looking at it. He's checking for these things. So it's good. Like we're It's going to depend on the tournament organizer too, how much
Yep.
they're in tune with that, paying attention to what's actually abusive in the game, what's just like a little exploit here that's maybe good for the meta. It's going to be up to the tournament organizers, and that's not an easy thing to do. And honestly, sometimes those decisions can make or break your reputation in the tournament scene.
Yeah,
For sure.
I agree.
All right, I think that's it. I'm happy. Good job, guys. A+.
Yeah, that was a good
That
discussion.
was a good Kubi's question.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Did I ever
agree.
answer Jake's question?
No,
Oh,
it's,
no.
it was
How
a
many
dumb
games?
one anyway. It was a dumb one.
No,
Right.
answer it. But you have to pull it off Kubi's questions because it's not a part of the
I don't even remember what it was.
It was how many games
games?
did you play a week?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, how many tournament games
That's
do
a
you guys
fair
play a
question.
week? Tournament games.
Oh, tournament
obvious-
games.
Obviously, it depends.
On
You know,
average.
Saturday. Okay, on average.
More rather, how much time do you commit to competing in tournaments? Like Saturdays can be like your whole day, so we know
Yeah,
that.
Saturday's like our day. Sunday there could be something that could be all day. Usually it's for practice. I'd say it's like 60 practice, 40 tournaments.
Games.
Yeah, but we as a team we don't practice that much. It's 4 hours for 6 days a week, which there's teams pulling longer than that.
Right. But a lot
So
of you
we
guys are
don't-
in school, of course, and
But you guys,
Yeah,
and you guys
exactly.
will solo queue.
obviously
or
you
whatever.
guys can't make enough money right now to justify dropping
Yeah,
out of
exactly.
these things.
Yeah.
So, okay.
This is like a kind of a question that gets bounced around from every pro scene, but when is the point that you are? I mean, when money enters the scene, when is it the point that you guys are spending more time playing tournaments for money than practicing? Where do you like? What ratio do you draw the line at? Like, sorry, we can't, even if you're offering us $1,000 prize pool, we can't play in that because we have to practice. What is the line you think you have to draw there?
Well, I've never personally experienced that. If we get to the point where we're making so much that we have to deny,
Arthlon's just like,
Okay.
this is a good
price
problem to
pool.
have.
I
I
think-
want it.
I think
yeah, like I wish I had
Well,
that problem.
what I meant was when it starts impacting your play because you're
Yeah,
not
yeah. 'Cause we're
scrimming,
not
you're
actually
only
practicing.
playing in tournaments.
well, it's going to depend on the relative competitive field. Like if they're
Well-
stopping everybody, you know what I mean. They might not need to worry about that too. So
It's definitely different because when you're playing a tournament, people are watching.
Mm.
You can't cheese every game. You have to run a consistent strategy that works. So you don't get time to practice like a secret strategy or tweak some things because you have to do things that work. You can't pull out these crazy things unless you like to gamble or you're just crazy. So if you get to that point where you're not having that hidden secret time to practice, it can hinder your play. But if you're kind of lost my train of thought.
in
Just
terms
stare
of
at
how
Kubi's
much to
candle.
play.
Stare at Kubi's candle. It'll help you.
All right.
So
Right.
so in terms of like how much you're playing,
It really
competitively, like,
depends.
how much you got to
Yeah.
keep secret.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And you can't really further your. You can't innovate. I guess is my
Yeah.
point when
Yeah.
you're playing tournaments because, like I
Oh,
said, you have
that's-
to use things that work.
That's very.
It's just a thing I've heard from the StarCraft scene where players were like, "Yeah, I can't go to MLG because I have been on a plane for 4
Oh
months."
yeah, when you
or
factor in real life travel, it can really
yeah,
affect
that's a whole
Yeah.
nother story. That's when you're traveling constantly for events, but in Heroes right now it's all online. That's a
Yeah.
completely different story where it's like, okay, I actually just went to GSL to try to qualify, and then I flew to DreamHack, and then MLG is the week after that, and I'm sorry, but I'm not doing it. Because that's just physically exhausting. But well,
There's-
Arthalon, we can
Oh, I was
hope
gonna say-
that you get to that point where that's a problem you have to consider.
you. Yeah.
You wanted to say
I
something
hope-
though?
I was gonna say that. Yeah, that definitely exists though.
Yeah.
Like where you can't practice enough because of tournaments.
Sure.
But I think we're really far away from that.
Well, the scenes, the game's in alpha, and before
Yes.
it could be another year before we see that much tournament saturation, and we hope that in a year we have that much tournament saturation because that's great for everyone. Any final thoughts, guys?
I think that's it for me.
Well, we're gonna rip the little Kubi face here on the screen, and well, guys, it's gonna be. Do we have any viewer questions on Reddit?
I will
checked.
check.
I didn't see anything. Hollowness had asked a question about Taronda, but we discussed it earlier.
Well, I didn't even upload the thread. I'm a bad boy.
Oof. But yeah, no questions. Just because the thread ended up going a bit later than we used to because we're so used
Sham
to
2
having
carries
Kev-
this show.
Carried. Yeah. So
Yeah, nothing on
that might be
Reddit.
it.
It looks like.
Might be it.
Oh, look at this. Look at this.
Look at this.
No,
Look at
I
this.
was looking at the wrong thread, so
at
disregard
this.
my existence. All right, guys. Well, it's gonna be shout outs time here, and Arthelon, you've done shout outs in other shows, so you know the routine. Why don't you tell people where they can find you online and some shout outs for your team and whatnot?
You can find me personally at twitter.com/Arthelon and twitch.tv/Arthelon. You can find my wonderful and amazing team at Simbayout Gaming on Twitter. You can find every personal player's Twitter on there, and usually their stream. Shout out to my team, of course. I love them. Couldn't live without them. Shout out to Katia. She's an awesome manager. She's a boss. And I think that's it. Oh, wait. No. Shout out to my team because we have 5 money pigs. 5. 5. We have
see how
completed
happy
it.
Jared is right now. Look at him.
We have
I'm hyped,
world
man.
first.
I'm surprised he hasn't
world
put a money
first
pig in the chat
complete
yet.
team. Money
Wait. So I hope in the very near future we see a tournament where you guys are doing a 5-man circle around a tower.
Well, they run
please.
Falstad or Rhaegar every
Yeah,
time.
it's
so
true.
it's hard.
It's
we have to.
impossible.
I know,
We have
but
to run specific heroes, especially
Yes.
on Timmy because he's almost always on Rhaegar or Brightwing.
Or Brightwing,
right,
yeah.
yeah. It's tough, but
But we're trying. We're
it
trying.
can happen.
Be watching out.
Yes.
Mr. Zoloff.
Yeah, I will be doing Battle in the Blues or Brawl with the Blues soon. It's
That's right, yes.
nothing's been specifically announced yet as the date, but I was allowed to say that I will be playing with Trickslayer as well as a few other people in the scene. Trickslur. I'm working on it. And yes, Team Town Hall has money pigs.
Yes.
So we do. Sham 2 finally got his hype. But yeah, I'll
We
be
can have a
doing
money
Brawl.
pig battle.
Well, SMG would lose. Sorry. Like we've actually been preventing ourselves from playing in tournaments because we don't want to just like kill the scene. Like
We got to keep it alive, man.
No, I'm talking about we have everyone on 5 money pigs and they charge into each other.
Let's
okay,
see
I'm
whose
cool with
money
that.
pigs are the money piggiest.
Exactly. Whoever picks up the most coins wins.
All right. We'll
But,
we'll have Trickslayer actually judge this.
Okay, that's a good call. But yeah, I'll be doing Brawl with the Blues. Check me out at IVD Zoya on Twitter. You can check out the team IVD Gaming. Blah 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 blah. Follow my stream. Push Up TV says Zoya TV. I got a graphics card that's coming in the mail tomorrow. It's supposed to be here, so I'll be streaming consistently again, guys. I tried streaming this morning and my PC was dying.
Rip.
So that will be fixed soon.
He orders the
Well-
graphics card right before Black Friday. A bold move.
It was a new egg shell shocker,
Okay,
so
okay.
I went for it.
All right.
Make sure you guys follow the Town Hall Twitter as well as our new Facebook page.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's all I got, girls.
Facebook.com/townhallheroes.
Yep.
Twitter.com/townhallheroes. Kubi.com/here's your shoutouts.
Wow. Just fed to me like that. I have something that we need to discuss, actually.
Oh.
Last week, during Kubi's questions, we had a very heated argument about laning. Kevin, and Sham 2, and Jared, Zoya, got into a pretty heated argument about whether Tyrael was a good laner or not, and then it sort of evolved from there. Some choice words were thrown to each other, and essentially
I call
it
him
was-
a doo-doo head, basically.
it was unanimously decided that we should have a lane off. That was scheduled for tonight, actually. We were going to do that perhaps as part of the show or maybe after the show. Kevin ducked out. He's, as you can see,
He
he's not
dodged.
here on the show.
He
has
failed because of
just
that, guys.
straight up dodged. No.
Wow.
So, of course, we know that Kevin is he's got some other obligations to attend to, but that's still on the burner. So we will
We have not
probably-
forgotten.
Yes, that will be happening. I know that Jared has been practicing quite a bit for that.
Yeah.
So I'm quite excited.
Solo lane Murky Man, it's getting good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna win.
He's dropping his strategies like ahead of time.
Oh my goodness.
What's the
So-
qualifications of winning a murky lane? Do you have to kill him like 18 times before
that's a
it
good
counts
point.
as?
We haven't actually figured out a
We'll
format.
we'll
or
iron
at
out
all.
details.
Yeah,
But
we
I
haven't
just
done
want to say
anything like
to the viewers, to everybody, we haven't forgotten about it, even though Sham 2 dodged. It's still gonna happen. It's still gonna happen. Other than that, yeah, as Jake had mentioned, there's perhaps going to be an Asian region tournament that we'll be casting perhaps as early as next week. More details again to follow. So check out our Twitters for that. You can find me at the Kubi. I have changed my handle because so many of you only know me as Kubi, so I had to do it. I hear some snickers.
So we're gonna change the segment to Omega Black Mage's questions.
Oh please,
Oh god.
spare me. Too many syllables. I've had a long discussion with many people about how many syllables.
I'm not gonna
name should
sing. I won't sing that now.
be. He won't sing it. See, that's what it comes down to. But that's it for me.
Well, thanks again, everyone, for watching.
Especially Arthlon.
Yes,
for coming on.
Big shout out to Arthlon for coming on. Finally made it up to Town Hall. The hearts. Just the generic stuff, guys. I'm actually 13 follows away from 1,000 here on Twitch, so I'd very much appreciate all the follows. Thank you to everyone that followed tonight.
13,000?
13 away from 1,000.
Oh, thought you said you're about to be at 13,000. I was like, damn, Jake.
No, not
Negative viewers.
quite. Not quite. So 13 away from 1,000. I would appreciate any of the follows there. Same thing for Twitter and YouTube. VOD will be at YouTube along with all the good links and that good stuff. Again, like Kubi said, we're going to be casting the Asian event next week. We will be casting from Replay. The tournament's happening this Saturday. And we will be casting from replays as, again, it's primarily an Asian broadcast.
But we know you guys want to see the games. So
they're
bring it to you.
Exactly. So they're going to be.
When are the games being cast?
They're going to be cast not on Twitch, on a different service this weekend.
Ew.
No. I mean, for the Asia stream, and then we're going to be casting them. The dates to be determined on my channel here. It's going to be on this channel here. It's going to be me, Kubi, and
selling out to a Zubu.
Me, Kubi, and potentially Sia Steve as well if he can make it here, depending on when we end up doing it. We don't want to overlap with King, so it might be during the week because we don't have a lot of stuff during the week. So we're going to figure out the time slot for that. So that's coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. And other than
Happy
that,
Thanksgiving, everybody.
yeah.
If you folks celebrate these things,
Have a
Thanksgiving.
wonderful
Lots of food.
Pilgrim's Bounty.
Oh, I actually have a thing. There's a Trolls Giving thing on Thursday that they're doing. We faced Tuark and we did reverse draft. And good thing we're ending. Reverse draft, and it's a really fun game. It's really
First
troll.
draft, what does that mean?
It means we pick the heroes for the other team.
Oh, right.
You know,
Dude, that's awesome.
so I actually have another announcement
That's,
to make. Oh, go ahead.
That was Prosser. I forget her name.
Anna?
Anna Prosser. Yes. They'll be streaming that on Thursday, I think. So
That's
watch
awesome.
out for that.
I can't wait for that.
So two things. I'm being asked about Smash 4. I'll get there in just 1 second really quickly. But on Clairvoyance, Kubi and I have been talking about doing a new show match series. And it's coming in the near future because we want to, like everyone else, we want to be casting more. And we have all this gear here, so we're going to be using it. But the first ever show match we do is going to be an all random show match. Talent Gaming is one team. The other team has yet to be decided. So because it was Talents Gaming to do an all random match, so we're going with that. It's gonna be interesting. We might see some really
How
unorthodox.
are you deciding
play.
the teams for that? Because I will throw a team together to play those guys right now.
Well, it's gonna be another actual team. But
because Jared.
Wait,
you
because
are
that first
apparently
team
not
wasn't an
action.
action team.
hey, Talent Gaming has been playing for a little while.
No, I think that's just a straight up call out. He wants in.
No, I called them out.
Yeah, he wants in.
I called them out. They're not good.
Well, you know what, Jared? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We will
Jared.
talk about this.
How about that? We'll get Team WoW Arena to go against them.
Yeah, and longest shoutouts ever. We're not going to go over time, but Smash 4, haven't played it. The adapter sold it everywhere. Rip that game. Heroes of the Storm, live game. Play it a lot. I'm going to go play some right now. Once again, thank you, Arthalon, for coming on.
Yes, thank you
And
so much.
we will be back next week.
Cross your fingers for a patch, guys.
And
Cross your fingers for Sham 2, guys.
Yes.
as long as I live, got a foot of snow coming. Gonna be hype. Kubi's got the coughs. Being such a gentleman and just. All right, guys, that does it for episode 41. Thanks again for everyone's love, support, and for 100 people, 150 people hanging out, just listening to us ramble about God knows what.
Perhaps Heroes.
Perhaps Heroes. All right, dudes. See you next time. My hotkeys are broken. No. Go.